Shifting focus away from Hong Kong to British Royal Prince Andrew, on whom pressure has been building ever since his name featured in the billionaire financier Jeffrey Epstein's sex scandal. And now, after a disastrous interview, he has chosen to step down from public duties. Andrew, who is Queen Elizabeth's second son, said that the controversy surrounding his quote-unquote ill-judged association with late U.S. financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein has caused major disruption to the royal family's work. Remember, in a recent interview, Andrew denied having sex with a 17-year-old girl procured for him by his friend Epstein, who killed himself in an American prison while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. The British royal faced a lot of flack over what has been dubbed as his catastrophic explanation to the allegations. Many viewers also condemned his apparent lack of compassion for Epstein's victims. Listen in to what Prince Andrew exactly said in that infamous interview.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was, oh actually, yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat.
Meanwhile, the lawyers of Epstein's victims welcomed the move, but added that it was time that Prince Andrew begins cooperating with law enforcement.
It's great that he's stepping away from his royal duties, but it's really not about that. It's about justice and accountability for the victims. So it's important that he says he's going to cooperate with law enforcement. He should also answer questions from all of the accusers' attorneys, especially the attorney for Virginia Roberts-Giuffre, who has very significant claims against him. He should turn over any and all evidence he has, emails, texts, calendars, all the normal stuff that you turn over when you're in litigation. And he should have his staffers and security personnel also talk to law enforcement, because they could help us determine where he was, when he was there, and what they saw. So all of that is extremely important so we can get to the bottom of what happened.
Royal experts have said that the situation is only going to get worse for Prince Andrew.
Well, it's an absolute bombshell coming after several days of horrific headlines for the palace. Just an absolute catastrophe for Prince Andrew after his interview with the BBC. And he was totally forced into a corner, an avalanche of protests from big business, from charities, from people that rely on those charities as well, potentially losing out, and an absolute catastrophe for both the palace and Prince Andrew tonight.
And now we have a correspondent, Natalie Powell, joining us live from London for more on that story. Natalie, talk to us. We're talking about Prince Andrew at a time when the Netflix series Crown Season 3 is out. Lots of curiosity about the royal family, and this is the worst possible news to have hit the British monarchy in recent times.
Certainly, it seems to be very unprecedented. Prince Andrew having to ask the Queen to allow him to step down from his royal duties as a result of this scandal that he is being hit by, of course. The outcome of the BBC interview, clearly not what Prince Andrew had hoped for when he did that interview. He was criticised very heavily for not showing remorse for his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, and also for visiting Jeffrey Epstein after 2008, after he was released from prison, but he was a convicted sex offender, and also not showing sympathy for the victims in this interview either. Now, Prince Andrew, to some extent, has tried to rectify this, presumably for his reputation and for the reputation of the royal family. We know that he has released this statement saying that he is stepping down from these royal duties because he is causing disruption to the royal family and, of course, his immediate family, and indeed the charities that he works with as a result of being part of the royal family. He's also said that he's also apologized, I should say, for his what he called ill-judged friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, and in this statement has finally given his sympathies to the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. He's also, in addition to that, said that he will cooperate with, and I'm going to get the exact quote here, he said he's willing to help law enforcement agencies with their investigations. But of course, lawyers for Jeffrey Epstein's alleged victims are wondering exactly what the wording of that means and how far he will cooperate. They would like to see him, for example, give written testimonies. They think that that would be able to help with a lot of the litigation that is going on at the moment. But certainly an unprecedented step for Prince Andrew to step down amid this scandal. Clearly a very ill-judged interview and not showing remorse for his friendship or the victims, something that he has come under heavy fire for. What's very interesting, though, is that this won't be the last of Prince Andrew. He is simply stepping away from his public duties, but of course we are likely to see him at royal family events.
Natalie Powell joining us with that live update straight from London. Thank you, Natalie, for being with us here on WION Dispatch.